if you're getting Rice in this team, then unfortunately it becomes a Rice Partey battle. Like it's one of the two has to play.
Havertz is pulling defenders and Jesus is pulling defenders, and it's like a mini triangle going round and round. So that's just a vision I see with Ranieri, and I'd like to see it.
The step towards the new tactic for this season, as we've seen an evolution almost every season that Arteta's been here. Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. We're going to predict the starting 11, Arsenal versus Ipswich here at the Emirates, the last game of 2024. Of course, we then play on New Year's Day, I think it is. Is it Brentford away?
Brentford, yeah.
We need 3 points.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've done the preview, so go check out the 3 points. Go check out the video that's out on the channel. Let's hope we get 3 points here, and let's talk about Arsenal's 11. Bukayo Saka, look, coming clean with you people now. At the time of recording, we don't know any updates. We don't know any sort of significant, is it 3-4 weeks? Is it 2 months? Is it whatever? It didn't look good. Let's stop speculating, see what happens. But he's not going to be in this game against Ipswich. So, there are options. Don't know how many of them we love, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Arteta's new system against Palace. We talked about in Forever Arsenal.
Yeah.
We sacrificed control, stability for a little bit more chaos. But actually, we got goals through it. Is that a long-term plan? Or was that just for the sake of doing something different? Would you like to see something similar for this game?
I think we needed something different to unlock the attack a little bit, to help, open up space for the 10 and the striker to work into. And I think it worked well against Palace because it wasn't the greatest performance, but the moments we had were solid, strong moments, and we made full use of them. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it more moving forward. I think some of our fear factors, gone a little bit considering our inconsistency this season. So, building off that 5-1 against Palace, another healthy win wouldn't go amiss, especially going into 2 tough away games, Brentford and then Brighton. Yeah. Back to back to start the new year. So, new system, I like the idea of it. Obviously, I look at the personnel available and the options, and I still feel like even with that system to unlock the attack, we're still short in technical quality in some areas in that attack. Yeah,
that 11 and the way we played it was a lesson in patience because we were on the starting 11. I said, look, I'm disappointed that it's not Mourinho. Why did you sign him? What does Havertz give you in that role that Mourinho doesn't? Mourinho Havertz aren't miles off each other in terms of profiles. Only one is a much more natural midfielder. When I say profiles, I'm talking the height, I'm talking being left-footed, I'm talking what they kind of give you if you use them both as midfielders. Of course, very different players in other ways. So I didn't get it, but then we saw, Havertz playing in that role, much more behind Jesus, operating in the pockets. I don't think he played it that brilliantly, but it gave Palace a different problem. So I think he'll run something similar against Ipswich. I think this might be the step towards the new tactic for this season, as we've seen an evolution almost every season that Arteta's been here. Let's build the 11 and we'll get to that in more conversation in a sec. So Raya obviously in goal, what season he's having. And would you stick to the back 4 of Timber, Saliba, Gabriel
100%.
and Lewis Skelly?
100%. It's Lewis Skelly's position to lose, in my opinion.
Question though, does his age go against him? Ultimately, yes, it shouldn't, and it shouldn't matter. He's playing brilliantly, and I think he's been, those 2 performances against Monaco and Palace are the best we've seen from left back so far this season. But Calafiori at 22, 23 would always be seen as a senior option. Yeah. Do you think ultimately Arteta's always going to go for that? Long term. Lewis Skelly maybe gets another game before Calafiori's basically worked back into the team.
He's brought in another defender in a summer that we were all looking for attackers, so he's got to try and make it work for it to make sense, first and foremost. So I actually think Calafiori coming off the bench, which I didn't like Lewis Skelly coming off. I thought, give him 90. He's a young man, he's hit the ground running in terms of his first team appearances, and why not give him the 90? I actually look at Calafiori coming off the bench as, all right, he'll be next in to start the next game, as in this is his minutes, rather than protect Lewis Skelly. I'd love nothing more to see Lewis Skelly. I think, look, we had a similar debate with Ranieri earlier this season when Odegaard was there, and I think, Arteta doesn't rely on youth, and I think there's there's a lot more, let me not say pros than cons to that, but there's a lot more understandable reasoning behind that than there is to throw them in a title race or a season where you expect to win. But we're halfway through the season now. We've been very inconsistent, and I can't lie to you, Lewis Skelly has been one of our top performers in the brief minutes he's had this season, relative.
Yeah.
So I think Arteta needs to learn a little bit, because I wouldn't just be starting one teenager in this game, and we're going to get into that later on. I'd be starting two.
Wow, and I see where you're going with this now. But you know, the one thing that gives me that feeling that Lewis Skelly will keep his place over Calafiori, because I agree. I mean, in particular, the fact he gave him about 25-30 minutes, Calafiori made me think, yeah, that's not just a run out to kind of get you going. That feels like he's maybe trying to get him ready for Ipswich. But the one thing is that if he does stick to this new system, which I think he will, and it's not that new because he tried it once last season, but you will get my point. Lewis Skelly, being a midfielder converted left back, asking him to move into the midfield three with Partey Odegaard, he's way more suited to that than Calafiori is.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that makes me think, and actually that's a little bit of a long-term role for Zinchenko if he ever gets himself fit and has to play every now and again. So it feels like that's more suited to the typical inverted forward, the midfielder converted left back, than it is a Calafiori or your kind of like 6'2", you know, like a Tomiyasu or someone. I don't think they're going to play that role the same way.
No, 100%. I completely agree with you. I think Calafiori is a more of a bulldozer.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's more of
That's
a
one thing that
bulldozer.
surprised me since he's arrived. He's a real, like, hit and run.
Yeah.
which surprised me.
Yeah, so whereas I look at Lewis Skelly as a lot more technically proficient.
Yeah.
You know, there's just something about him, the maturity he's playing with. And this ain't nothing against Calafiori. I haven't seen enough of Calafiori yet.
Yeah, we haven't watched enough.
You know, he has been in and out with injuries so far this season. So I don't know the level of player we got. He does look a talent. But at this moment in time, I can only judge from what I've seen with every player playing left back this season. And Lewis Skelly, in my opinion, aside from Timber on that side, has made a strong claim for that position. So yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay, well, let's go into the midfield then. I think it's going to be Odegaard, Partey, Havertz. Oh, Rice.
Becomes a bit more. This is where Arteta now, does he stick with the unlocking of the attack a little bit and make the team around that, or does he, you know, leave a big name out? And
I think if Rice plays, then he plays Calafiori too.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think maybe because Calafiori is one to kind of bomb forward. Look, we just said more of a bulldozer, whereas Rice he can sit deeper next to Partey, and Calafiori almost runs himself into that fifth lane of attack. This is really difficult. What do you think he'll do?
Partey, Rice, Odegaard.
So you think he'll start Calafiori, or you think he'll still go Lewis Skelly?
Calafiori, like I said, I think him coming off the bench for the time he came off on against Palace, I think that was prepping him for a start.
So he might kind of throw that system in the bin. Well, not throw it. Okay, that's dramatic. He won't throw it in the bin, but he might just go, yeah, that was for Palace, and now I want something else for Ipswich.
Yeah, but this goes back to the recruitment and not having the adequate, you know, adequate picks and options for selection. That's honestly, I just think it comes back down to that.
I'll tell you what though. So I've been thinking about this for a video that I'm doing on the Gooniverse, right? Which maybe by the time you're watching this is out. But I've been thinking, like, how do you play that diamond, that 3-diamond-3, with Rice and Partey? Because last season he inverted Partey from right back. But the problem is, it's one thing when you're like right back and you tuck in a little bit as an invert. It's another when you're right back, but then on the ball you have to go all the way into the sixth position. Like, that feels like a lot of work. And then you lose possession, and then, you know, you're getting done on transition, and Partey has to track all the time. It's a difficult job. But that's how he got Rice in there too last time. So part of me thinks, if you're getting Rice in this team, then unfortunately it becomes a Rice-Partey battle. Like, it's one of the two has to play. And the one thing about Palace is we were done on transition a few times. I don't blame Partey for that. I don't think he got any help in there, you know, because of Havertz's role. So I'm just throwing all that stuff out there. I don't really know. I mean, Rice probably covers that ground a bit better than Partey does as a 6. Well, he definitely does. He definitely does. But then, how great to have 3 technical players in Partey, Odegaard and Lewis Skelly, all behind Kai Havertz, who isn't really going to be creative, is only going to be a finisher to move. So, I don't know, man. It's got me thinking that.
I also think it's another chance. Ipswich at home, newly promoted sides, you know, against Leicester and Southampton. I thought it was a chance then to mix it up a little bit, considering Odegaard's injury. I think now it's at the end of the day, your recruitment has led you to this situation where our fullbacks go into midfield, our midfielders, you know, we've got an abundance of options in the 6, very little options in the 8, one option in the 10. Like, it's so imbalanced in terms of the picks we have. And it's on him. You know, you want to buy all these defenders that go into midfield, and you want to play on midfielders and right back because they, you know, just make it work, brother.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I thought the future was Rice, Marino, Odegaard in terms of what he wanted, having brought him in.
That's what I thought.
Partey's been our best midfielder, which has probably caused him a good issue, I'd call it. And you can't really leave Partey out unless, you know, it's you know what?
Unless you're purely rotating.
I wouldn't mind leaving Partey out of this one because we've got Brentford and Brighton away next, and I'd want him fully flowing for it. But that's just me.
And he's proven his fitness
an
this
excuse.
year.
Yeah, it's just me making
he has
an
proven
reason.
his fitness. You know, the amount of games he's played, I never thought after last season he'd put that kind of run of games and availability
because I want to see
for Arsenal.
I want to see the system again. But let's move forward, and then I'll tell you why.
I still think there's games where I want Odegaard, Partey, Marino.
Yeah,
I love Rice,
yeah.
but and what a cameo against Palace. There's still games where I want that midfield.
I agree.
So, okay, it becomes difficult. Look, let's keep this simple and make it a predicted 11.
I think Rice, Partey, Odegaard is what he's going to do.
Okay, so I agree. You know what? I'm predicting that is what he's going to do as well. So Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori is my prediction.
Yeah.
Odegaard, Partey, Rice is our prediction. And then the front three, look, I'm going to say now, my prediction is oh God, Havertz.
I think he'll put Havertz up top, Jesus on the right, and have them in and out. Havertz floating to the right to win headers, and Jesus to go into the middle.
That's exactly what he'll do. He'll justify it with. That sounds like I'm really against the decision, but he'll basically go, well, I still want Havertz in the team. Jesus doesn't deserve to be dropped, and Saka's injured, so that answers that. My hands are tied. I can't do anything. Got to play him there. Whereas really, I want Jesus to get a run up front.
Yeah,
I want him to get that run now. He's scoring goals. Keep him there. He's got the 9 on his back. But I think you're right. He'll go Jesus, Havertz, Martinelli, I think.
If he doesn't.
But you want to see one area on the right. So let's make the case for that.
Because, look, the way we played last time out against Palace, I think if you add... Listen, it's unfortunate we've got Saka out, so we've got to make the best of it. And I'm no manager. I'm just a fan. I don't know much, but I'd like to see Ranieri start on the right. Now, this is where, you know, modern day systems come into play, and this player moving there and this player moving there. But I think if you start Ranieri on the right with the system we played last time, Jesus can help him on the right in terms of floating out there naturally. Havertz can still do his, you know, box invading or whatever people call it. And Ranieri then picks up the number 10 position in front of an Odegaard and in front of a Rice or a Partey. And then he's got a bit more space to work with because Havertz is pulling defenders and Jesus is pulling defenders, and it's like a mini triangle going round and round. So that's just a vision I see with Ranieri, and I'd like to see it.
Well, can I add into the mix? You've got Jurien Timber, who is the closest we've got to an overlapping fullback in this squad, which is crazy because he was a centre when we signed him. But if you've got a player that can underlap and support but also overlap, so if Ranieri does want to take up those more central positions, you know, we keep asking Odegaard to get deeper. With every season he's playing deeper and deeper and deeper, then I mean, that's not a bad little, you know, Partey and Odegaard with a Ranieri with a Timber. And look, we're just throwing names out there, but hey,
it's suited to the role.
You know,
I think you tell Jesus and Havertz, your job today is make the space for Ranieri, and you make the space for Ranieri, you lot will get shots. Oh, people love space nowadays. So make some space, get Ranieri into those positions, and you two will have chances today. That's how. But listen, I'm not a manager. I don't know tactics. It's just. Ranieri's our most old school type of 10 in terms of if you give him a bit of space to work with, he's got that ability.
But I also think he's the closest to Saka. You know,
I
mean, you can talk about left-footed, tail-end product, maybe in kind of size or whatever, but it's his dribbling, man. We don't have many dribblers in the squad, and Saka's one of them. When I say dribbler, I don't mean like hit and run. I don't mean, can get out of a tight space. We've got loads of players who can do that. Odegaard and Trossard. We've got a lot of technically very talented footballers. I'm talking, there's a player in front of me, and I'm going to drop a shoulder, I'm going to pull some skill, I'm going to flick it from one foot to the other, I'm going to do something to get around this player. Not just pure pace, there's an actual ball carrying ability, and Ranieri is already one of the best in the squad when it comes to that. You saw that when he came on against Leicester, he made that difference. You saw when he came on, I think, against Forest, when do you remember he kind of darted around, I think it was Maria, got that shot away before he eventually got the goal. So he's got that talent there. And I just think what he doesn't have which we haven't seen enough of it, to be fair. But he doesn't have, from what I've seen, Saka's ability to do what he did against Palace, that first goal, which is basically, am I going to go left or right? Oh, I've gone right. I've gone on the outside, and my right foot's good enough to put in a really good cross. Yeah. And that's maybe where it becomes a bit trickier for Nwaneri, but...
It does. And look, this is me who went into the season saying, let's not rely on 17, 18-year-olds. And I'm not saying rely on them, but I always said Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, are newly promoted sides at the Emirates. It's a fantastic chance to give them a go. And when you look at the inconsistencies across the board this season, especially in attack, I think, why not? I'm looking, I see Barcelona playing 2 teenagers in the last year or so, one centre-back and Yamal. And it's working for them, albeit in a different league. But I think when you look at the league we're in now, the position we're in now, the team we're up against, at the time we're up against them, I think you can mix it up and still win this game.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, everyone let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. To recap our predicted 11, we think he's going to move away from the system that he used against Palace. That was somewhat new, somewhat fresh, but maybe needs must, because he's going to, we think, go Raya in goal, Timber Saliba, Gabriel Calafiori, with Rice in midfield, restored to the midfield with Partey and Ødegaard, both of them playing very well against Palace. Of course, Jesus on the right, Havertz up front, and one of Trossard or Marte on the left, but I think he'll stick with Martinelli.
Probably.
Cool. There we go. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to AFTV if you haven't, of course, and check out all the content from Sierra Leone, everything around this Christmas period, and our final game of 2024. We'll be covering it live on AFTV. I'll be on the watch along, so look out for us there. Catch you soon.